If Trump does win clearly in the election, is your sense that on January 20th, Trump will be inaugurated or no?
This period between November 5th and January 6th is going to be extremely intense. If Trump wins, my sense is that you will see street paramilitary, left-wing / never Trump, right even potentially. You're going to see this sort of summer 2020 style riot force start to break out on the streets. The media is going to portray them as pro-democracy groups who are protesting the illegitimacy of the Trump Electoral College victory. So that's going to shut down the country. It's going to start terrorizing people. It's going to start preventing people from being able to communicate. You're going to see pressure put on the social media companies, extreme pressure put on by the Justice Department, put on by the advertiser networks. You're going to see this crisis response. It's going to feel like this country is, it's going to feel like the day after January 6th for 2 months if Trump does indeed win the Electoral College, in order for them to prime the pump for their extraordinary actions on January 6th.
This guy's talking about exactly why Trump was actually saying what he was saying about the military.
Here's what Trump said on October 13th in response to a question about whether he expects chaos on Election Day.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military. Because they can't let that happen.
Because if Donald Trump wins, the left and their supporters are going to lose their minds so bad that we are going to see riots like we did during BLM. They're going to have their screaming contests like we saw before, their scream-ins or whatever it is. We're going to see all the crazy protests and all the crazy stuff that we saw against Donald Trump. Don't forget what Madonna said, what all the pussy hats and the women marches and all the assassination comments by Johnny Depp, by, look at the bloody head thing by Kathy Griffin. Look at Madonna is about blowing up the White House at the women's rally while they wore pussy hats. Like, this is out of control. And they are the ones who get violent. So Donald Trump is actually talking about and hinting at everybody. He should be just straight up more clear about the fact that he offered Nancy Pelosi the National Guard on January 6, 2020 to prevent what the little stuff that we saw happen. He actually offered the National Guard to prevent that. But now the Democrat Party has actually issued an order that allows them to use the actual U.S. military against U.S. citizens and use deadly force. So when they sit here and they accuse Donald Trump of doing all this stuff, just know that just like most things, just like with the tips or just like the tax on tips, just like the border, just like every other thing we see, they say one thing, they do another thing, and that's exactly what we're seeing with this accusations that Trump wants to use the military. They're the ones who have positioned themselves to use the military against Trump supporters if Trump supporters don't like the way the election goes, or to use their own supporters in a false flag to make it look like they need to institute martial law, and then there won't be any transfer of power because it's so dangerous. And there's all of this crazy stuff going on that the military needs to be in charge. This could create a whole mess of things that people aren't actually thinking about because all they want to do is accuse Donald Trump of being a Nazi or being Donald, whoever. That's all it is. It's always about that. Instead of listening to the warning of what he's saying. He's actually saying that we need to be prepared for whether he wins or Kamala wins. Because Kamala's supporters are going to be burning cities down. And they're going to accuse Trump supporters of doing anything they do, any place they show up, it's going to be a Nazi rally, because that's what they make everything out to be that's Republican. It'll be a Nazi rally. So anything that happens between November 5th and January 6th, 2024 will be a humongous ordeal. And it's going to be up to the Biden-Harris administration to deal with, not the Trump administration. So we're going to see who's going to actually use the military.